What's going on, everybody? It is Dadbod here, and welcome to my Demon's Souls Veteran walkthrough. And what I mean by that is this walkthrough is going to be more geared towards those of you who are already familiar with the Soulsborne series of games. So, I mean, for that, I would include, you know, if you've played Dark Souls 1 through 3 and or if you've played Bloodborne, this walkthrough is more geared towards those of you who are familiar with how these games work, the combat, the exploration, the builds, and that sort of thing. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time in this walkthrough kind of belaboring those basics. So this walkthrough is going to be very gameplay focused. It's going to be a bit quicker than the other one. Now, that being said, it is still going to cover 100% of the game. It's still going to lead you to your platinum trophy, should that be your goal. The only difference is going to be that you know, it's going to be a little bit faster paced for those of you who are already familiar with these games. If you are new to the series, I would recommend checking out my other walkthrough, which I believe is more geared towards beginners, in which I will explain in much greater detail how the mechanics of this game work and whatnot. And so that will help you along on your journey through this game. So with all that being said, let's jump on into it. I'm going to be playing offline. The main reason for that is there's a system in this game called world tendency, and really the only way to guarantee your ability to manipulate world tendency to be in certain states is to play offline, and we are going to need to manipulate the world tendency in order to get all of the trophies. So if you're looking to get your platinum trophy, I would recommend your first playthrough doing offline. And again, the reason for that is because it really is the only way to guarantee your world tendency state. Most people that I talk to that have problems with their world tendency with following my walkthroughs, 100% of them, I ask them if they are playing online or offline, and if they're having problems manipulating it, they always, every single one of them has answered that they are playing online. So again, I would recommend playing offline if you are looking to get all the trophies, at least for your first playthrough. So here's our character creation. A few things about this. Let's see, I've already pre-built a character that I'm going to use because I don't want to spend a whole heck of a lot of time on this. You have to create the name of your character, so just keep things simple. I'm going to name him Dadbod. And you have to pick your starting class. So this basically dictates your starting stats. I'm going to choose the Hunter. In my opinion, the Hunter is the most well-rounded, or one of the more well-rounded starting classes. You start with a longbow, which I really like. The axe is a good starting weapon, and you're not able to use magic right away, but if you invest just a couple levels into your magic or faith stats, you'll be able to start using magic pretty quickly. So I'm going to start with the Hunter class. And as far as my build's concerned, I'm going to be using pretty much the same exact build that I used in my other walkthrough. And also the start and end points of each episode are going to be the same. So if you wanted to hop back and forth between the two, that is possible. And there's going to be some continuity there in case you wanted to do that. So for your starting gift, you have to pick a starting gift. I highly suggest picking the Providential Ring. You're going to need all of the rings for one of the trophies. And there is a way to get the Providential Ring in the game. However, it is a bit difficult. There's some hoops you have to jump through to get there. And why do all of that when you can just start with it? All of these other items are consumables, and you're going to run out of them anyways. So I would recommend starting off with the Providential Ring just for that purpose, because it is a freebie, and you don't have to worry about finding it in the middle of the game. Which, as I said, is a bit difficult to do. So, well, not difficult, but maybe just a little bit tedious, and you'll be sacrificing some other things as well if you want to get it. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and finalize my character here. And we are going to start our journey. I am going to, so this is, if you're playing your first game, you're not going to have this choice. I've already played the game before, so it's going to ask if I want to play the journey to the Nexus. This is basically the tutorial. So I am going to show you guys the tutorial. So I am going to play the journey to the Nexus. All right. And the reason why I'm playing the tutorial mainly is because, well, A, if this is your first playthrough, you're going to be playing through the tutorial. And B, there's actually a boss at the end of the tutorial, and you get some goodies if you kill it. So the only way to do that is actually to play the tutorial. So this first guy's not even going to attack you, but you know, if you're familiar with the series, it's the same old, same old. You know, you have your light attack, heavy attack, and then you can use your shield to block. This shield in this class only blocks 90% of damage. So pretty early on in the game, I'm going to get a different shield that blocks 100% damage, but 90% is going to be more than fine for the time being. As you guys know, you can dodge This class's armor is light enough to have a fast roll. There's two types of rolls in this game. There's a fast roll, and then there's also what I call a slow roll. So the fast roll and slow roll is dictated based on your equipment load, which if you take a peek at the menu real quick, you'll see that our equipment burden is at 30%. So anything under 50% gives you the fast roll, and then over 50% gives you the slow roll. So I'm going to be keeping my equipment burden under 50% for pretty much this whole playthrough because I like the fast roll. Makes it much easier to evade attacks, and I much prefer to dodge as opposed to you know, kind of tanking damage with heavier armor. So let's see, we just picked up an item there, and there's another one right here. And so grass is what you use to heal in this game. So we just picked up crescent moon grass, which is actually the weakest kind of grass. And you press circle to vault over that right there. Later on, we'll get some half moon grass, which is a bit stronger. We'll get full moon grass, which is even stronger than that. So there's multiple tiers of grass. And that's what you use to heal in this game. So backstabs are a thing. If you can sneak up behind the enemy and get a clear shot at their back, you'll see that animation. You'll be doing a much stronger attack than usual. So there's just a few guys around here that try to attack you, and this is really just getting you used to combat. If they do their lunge attack, they'll usually overshoot you, which gives you a good opportunity for a backstab. And you know, if you want to get some practice, you know, this is a good spot to do it. The enemies here don't really hit all that hard. So right around this corner, we're going to have another pickup. And we have some more crescent moon grass here. So you can see we have our quick access toolbar here. So I'm actually going to take these off. The all guides of guidance, they don't really, you know, they kind of act as a kind of a pathfinder. You can drop them and they shine and they help you find your way. I don't really use them that often, so I'm going to go ahead and equip them just so they don't muddy up my my equipment there. So this is an archstone. If you touch it, you'll warp to the next area. We'll see archstones later on in the game, and they basically function as this game's version of a bonfire. That one doesn't give you the full you know, set of uses that you normally would get from an archstone. That one just straight up warps you once you touch it. But at other ones later on in the game, you'll be able to rest at them like you would expect to from a bonfire or warp, etc. So those are, you know, we'll be seeing those as the game goes on. So again, just more enemies. These are a little bit tougher. And then this is going to be our first Blue-Eyed Knight. This is essentially your tutorial for parrying and riposte. Whoops. I'm bad at parrying, though. But I just want to show you guys the mechanic. There we go. So if you time your parry right with L2, it opens them up to this very heavy attack, which is a bit stronger than a backstab even. But again, you have to time your parry right with your shield in order to get that attack. So I tend to favor backstab just because they're a little bit safer. This one is kind of your tutorial for breaking guard. So this guy, he's got a big shield. And so if you press triangle to two-hand your weapon, you can break their guard because your attacks are going to be a bit heavier. And so, you know, the trade-off, of course, is that you can't block with your shield if you're two-handing your weapon. So, you know, really up to your play style and how you go about playing. Maybe you'll do more parrying, or maybe you'll be two-handing your weapon quite a bit. Really up to you. So we just picked up some half moon grass. I'm going to go on and throw that on here, just so I have access to it for later. When you climb up here, right in front of you, there's going to be a guy with a crossbow. You can run up to him and just hit him before he has a chance to shoot you, or you can put your shield up and block the arrow if he does shoot you. So Unknown Warrior Soul, that's a soul item. Those hang out in your inventory, and you can consume them for souls. I tend to kind of use them as a buffer. That's kind of my strategy for using them is, you know, if I want to get one more level and I'm just barely you know, I just barely don't have enough souls to get it, I'll pop a soul item just to act as a buffer to get that extra level. Or if there's an item that I want to buy, I'll use that soul item just to get me enough souls to buy that item that I want. So I don't consume them right away. And I suggest that you don't consume them right away because as long as they're in your inventory, they're not at risk. And those of you who know these games, if you die, you lose all your souls. And you have to get back to your bloodstain to get them back. If you die on your way back to your bloodstain, your souls are gone for good. So as long as they're in your inventory, they're not at risk. So I suggest keeping them in your inventory until you need to use them for something. let's see here. So straight ahead is the tutorial boss. I'm going to take this as an opportunity to top off my health over here. Because one hit from this thing will do some pretty serious damage. I'm actually going to two-hand my weapon because I'm not going to use my shield at all. And this is a pretty standard, you know, Souls-type boss where you want to avoid its attacks. And if you can get behind it, that's the sweet spot because it'll be harder for him to hit you. And, you know, you can get some safe shots. You're going to want to just pay attention to his attacks. When he attacks, you're going to want to make sure you're away from his attacking hand. Fortunately, his attacks have a pretty large wind-up, so they're very easy to predict when they're coming. And again, you just want to stay behind him and get attacks in when you can. And don't get too greedy. He does have a lot of HP. I believe, you know, I think that the developers pretty much expect you to lose to him. And if you lose to him, that's okay. You're going to go straight to the Nexus, and you're still going to be able to carry on with the game. However, if you beat him, you do get some rewards. So I'm going to beat him here, and I suggest you give it a shot to try and beat him. And that's his other attack is just kind of a stomp. There's an AOE associated with it, so I recommend being kind of away from him when he lands. Otherwise, you'll get hurt. So when he does that, just run away and then get right back to it. Sometimes he does it several times in a row, and it's actually much easier to dodge that attack than it is some of his other ones. So if he does it a bunch, consider yourself lucky. But otherwise, it's just a matter of kind of staying behind him to the extent you can and avoiding those big swings because he will probably be able to two-shot you, if not one-shot you, with his heavy attacks. So, and he takes a lot of hits. So. All right, run back in and start hitting them. We're just barely far away to avoid the damage there. And again, you want to roll through those attacks. You get invincibility frames when you roll. And that, again, is why I like the fast roll as opposed to the slow roll, is those extra invincibility frames. And, you know, of course, you're a bit more nimble and agile, which, in my opinion, helps drastically in this game. So we've almost got his health all the way down here. Just a couple more hits will do. And we're in good shape. All right, there we go. Got it, finally. He takes a lot of hits. You just gotta, you gotta be patient with it and just be mindful of when he's winding up for an attack. And you should be good. All righty, so as I said, if you died to him, you just warp straight to the Nexus. But because we lived and we survived and we killed him, we have access to this here Archstone, which we touch. We get the Gray Demon Soul. So when you kill a boss in this game, you get their soul. The boss souls can be used later in the game. Most of them can, I should say, can be used later in the game to either get a weapon that can be forged from a demon soul. And there's an item right here, the Iron Helm. I'm not going to be using it, but it's there for you to use if you'd like. And so those boss souls you can use later in the game to forge weapons from some of them. Some of them you can convert to a spell or a miracle. Picked up some full moon grass here. And so what I will say is if you're going for 100%, if you're going for all of the trophies, there's a trophy for all of the magic, and there's a trophy for all of the miracles. So I suggest not consuming those boss souls that you get for souls in your inventory. I suggest hanging on to them and using them to get the spells or miracles or whatever you can get from them, because if you want those trophies, you're going to have to do that. So in other words, you'll see that Gray Demon Soul we have here in our inventory we got from killing the Vanguard. You can actually forge a weapon from it later on. So, you know, I suggest, again, not consuming these boss souls. Now, the Renowned Warrior Soul and the Unknown Warrior Soul, those you can consume because there's no other use for them. But these boss souls, again, if you're going for Platinum Trophy, you're going to need some of these later on for miracles and spells. So I would suggest hanging on to them. So we've got all the loot down here. There's some grass and then some soul items. Pretty much the only way to go here is forward, and this is the Dragon God. And we're going to be seeing him again a little bit later here. So any way you go, he will punch you in the face, and you're going to wind up back in the Nexus anyway. So, either way you're going to get here, either after dying to the Vanguard or after dying to the Dragon God. The only difference is that that area where we just were is only accessible by killing the Vanguard in the tutorial. If you lose to him and come straight here, there is no way to get back to that place where we just were. So a little bit about the Nexus. This is the hub of the game. There's some more little tutorial hints down there if you want to take the time to read all of those. These giant fixtures here are known as the Archstones. These are what you use to warp to the levels. So this is known as Archstone 1, Archstone 2, 3, 4, and 5. And so each Archstone has, 2 or 3 levels associated with it. So, for example, the first level we're going to go to is known as 1-1, Archstone 1, level 1. That's just kind of how the leveling system is referred to in this game, or the level system. It's not explicitly stated in the game, but that's just kind of how people refer to them. Also in the Nexus, we have Stockpile Thomas, which he is kind of our storage box that we're going to use throughout the game. And then over here, we have a blacksmith who we can use to upgrade our weapons and repair our weapons. There is a durability system in this game. So see here, you can upgrade our weapon. We actually in that area with the Dragon God, we actually picked up some shards, so we could upgrade our axe if we wanted to. I'm actually going to hang on to these. Because pretty early on in the game, I'm going to start using a different weapon anyway, so I don't want to waste materials on this one. But if you wanted to use those things that we just got, it'll make the first level just a little bit easier. I'm not really all that concerned about it. And plus, I don't want to assume that all of you guys got those upgrade materials from that area anyways, because some of y'all may not have gotten there. And that's just fine. So I don't want to use those, given that some of y'all might not be able to in your own playthrough. So anyway, that's just kind of the long and short. Back there's some other people that we're going to be talking to a bit later to get magic and miracles and that sort of stuff. So at this point, the only place we can go is 1-1. That is the only level that is accessible to us at this point, the Gates of Boletaria. Once we beat the first level, the rest of the game opens up and we can pretty much go to the Archstones in any order that we want. And so the game does give you a lot of flexibility and freedom in that regard. So here we are at the Gates of Boletaria, the first level of the game. I always say you want to look behind you wherever you warp or whenever you enter a new area, because oftentimes there's going to be loot hidden behind you. In this case, late moon grass, which is always handy. You're going to notice our health bar is only at half health. You'll see that there's a little line there in the middle that keeps it from going all the way full. And that's because we right now are in soul form. So when we started the game in the tutorial, we were in human form. And so in human form, you have your full HP bar. One of the things about soul form is whenever you die in human form, you go to soul form. And in soul form, it's just one of the things about this game is you have half health in soul form. There is an item that we're going to get a little bit later that helps with that, where when you're in soul form, you'll have about 75% of your health rather than half health. And that's actually in this first level. So we're going to get there in just a little bit. Over here, you're going to see a gate. There's no way to get through this at this point in time. This gate can only be opened if you're in pure white or pure black world tendency. And that, again, that kind of bringing up that topic of world tendency. We're going to get it more into that and in a little bit, probably and more in the next episode. We'll take a deeper dive into what world tendency means and how we influence it and all that. So as for now, just kind of making my way through these enemies here. They like to jump out at you. A lot of them are hiding behind these wooden barricades here. And here there's 2 of them, but only that first one noticed me. I like to, as often as I can, to force one-on-one encounters as opposed to being ganged up on 2 versus 1 or 3 versus 1, because that can get dangerous pretty quick. Fortunately, these Dregling enemies are pretty weak, and even if they do hit you, they're not going to hit you very hard. But, being careful and forcing 1v1 encounters as I can, and getting through here pretty quickly. So up here there's 2 of them. They're both going to notice you, but if you can bait one of them to jump down at you, then that's ideal, and then you can fight the other one by himself. And then you see there's a 3rd one coming down. He was hiding behind that barricade up there, but watch out for their combo attack. I mean, they attack you many times in succession. It can add up, even though their individual attacks don't do that much. This guy has a fire-based weapon, so the fire does a bit more damage, as you could imagine. And even if you're blocking with your shield, fire is kind of a separate, I guess, category that does an extra sort of damage, I guess. And so even though our shield blocks 90% of physical damage, the fire damage is going to do a little bit more because our shield doesn't do as good against fire. Another thing is, you know, you pull up your menu. This does not pause the game. Those of you who are familiar with Souls know that. One thing that does pause the game, however, is there is a photo mode. So if you hit the touchpad in the middle, you can hit photo mode, and this actually is a true pause of the game. And this allows you to take, you know, screenshots and whatnot. One thing that I actually like to recommend is if you want to go into your settings, you can modify your controls here. I like to put photo mode just on the left-hand side of the touchpad, so that way it gives me a one-touch photo mode, so I can go straight there. If you want to pause the game in a pinch, you can do that. The only time you can't pause a game is if you're being invaded, and the only time you can be invaded is if you're playing in multiplayer. So just wanted to point that out. So this guy here, you see he has a crossbow. He has some range. I like to use this as an opportunity to get familiar with the bow. So if you take it out, you can press L1, and that brings up your crosshairs, and then you can use the D-pad to zoom in and out. He actually hit me there with one of his bows, but that's fine. And there's actually two guys back here, so you can use your bow and kind of practice with it as well. And you know, one of the things that I like about the bow and starting with the bow is that it gives you you know, range on your enemies, and ranged attacks is one of the core strategies of this game. You know, it gives you the edge, and with this game, you need all the help you can get because it does get rather difficult. Down there, I know it looks tempting, like you can jump down there and get some stuff. It's instant death, so I suggest you not do that. And these enemies are dropping mainly grass. And we do have the Providential Ring equipped, you'll see. We started with it, if you remember, when we created our character. So we have the Providential Ring right here, and that does increase our item discovery. You'll see that exclamation point there beneath the stamina bar, and that means that we have the enhanced item discovery from the Providential Ring. Right there on your right, when you walk through this archway, there's an enemy ambush, so be ready for that. And then right through here, there's another enemy. You want to get him out, kind of bait him out, because there's going to be another enemy through here. So if you rush through, you're gonna have enemies coming from all sides, and that can get ugly fast. So you just want to, you know, be patient and you know, kind of as I said, get those one-on-one encounters when you can. Roll through here to get some fire bombs. So fire bombs are your long-range sort of fire attack. It's a consumable item, and they function, you know, it's kind of like a Molotov cocktail sort of deal. So behind here, two more enemies. You know, not too bad. I took a couple hits there, but that's okay. And now, as I said, you know, the one-on-one encounters are ideal. Just top off my health a little bit. So now that I got this guy back here, I was able to take him out pretty easily. So through here, we have a fog gate. And the fog gates are kind of your markers of progress to the level. Whenever you go through a fog gate, that's just kind of you're unlocking the next area. And then when you get to the end of the level, the final fog gate's, you know, the boss. So got another soul item and the mail breaker. Not going to use it, but we have it. So up these stairs, there's going to be a guy that throws fire bombs at you. Just be aware of that. I kind of try to roll past him. And sometimes they'll throw the firebomb a little bit earlier, and you just have to be ready for it. And there's actually going to be guys up here that are throwing that'll throw fire bombs at you as well. So there's an enemy right here with a fire weapon, and then just beyond there is another guy who will throw fire bombs at you. So be aware of him. If you get too close to him, he will throw fire bombs at you while you're attacking the other guy. And then up there is kind of like a little ledge where more people throw fire bombs at you. So just be aware of that. You don't want to be in range of the fire bombs. As I said that, I just got nailed by one. But, you know, now you know that they're there. These guys, I like to, you have the fire bombs. So I like to kind of lure them back a little bit so I can sort of be out of range of his fire bombs while I kill them. Then through here, you have this guy. I just run past him and try to get a back attack. I'm going to top off my health just a bit right here. And there's two guys up ahead. There's this guy right here. I like to lure him out because if he throws his firebomb, it hits the wall. But then there's another guy behind him who will also throw firebombs at you. So you don't want to be in range of the other guy's firebombs. I just like to fight him by himself. Then I'll deal with this guy back here without having to worry much. Here we go. So up these stairs is actually an ambush. This guy's going to roll a boulder down at you. So I like to walk up just to trigger the boulder, let it roll down, and it actually rolls through that enclosure, which unlocks that item. You may have seen it before, but you weren't able to get to it. And the reason why is because you have to let that boulder run through. And this is actually a weapon. Again, not really a weapon that I ever use, so I'm going to show you how to throw things into storage. In this version of the game, I should say, the remake, you can actually throw things to storage straight from your inventory. Whereas in the previous version of the game on the PS3, anytime you wanted to send something to storage, you had to visit Stockpile Thomas. So in this version of the game, you can send things to storage from your inventory to Stockpile Thomas just by using the menu. However, if you want to retrieve items from the item box, you have to visit you still have to visit Stockpile Thomas. So this guy, I like to lure down. I use heavy attacks because the heavy attacks are kind of more vertical. If you use your just regular attack, your R1, sometimes you'll hit the wall instead, and it'll interrupt your animation, and you won't get your attack off, and you'll leave yourself open to getting hit. So there's this guy up here with the crossbow. Don't be surprised by him, but they go down pretty easy. There's two guys up here. There's one more with a crossbow, and then there's a guy with a spear. I like to lure the guy with the spear over. I just have my shield up, and then let him attack, and then I'll try to get behind him, but sometimes he can break out of that. So now, get the guy with the crossbow. There's an item behind him. Some half-moon grass. I'll top off my health. You'll see over there, there is a red-eyed knight. These guys are powerful. We're going to come back to him in just a bit. First, we're going to take care of some business over here. And over here, you'll see there's a blue-eyed knight. So the blue-eyed knights are significantly easier than the red-eyed knights. So the blue-eyed knights are just kind of they're stronger than most of the enemies we faced so far. But, see a couple backstabs and a couple attacks, they'll be down. And they're not too big of a deal as long as you're blocking with your shield. Yeah, he's done. So not too bad. They drop some good stuff. So they're worth fighting for sure. So actually there's a special area you can drop down here. You can't get to it any other way. You will take a little bit of damage from the fall. But down here we have the wooden bolt rather, and a light crossbow. I don't really use crossbows in this game because unlike the regular bows, you can't really aim the crossbow with the crosshairs. So I tend to favor just a regular bow to a crossbow. The advantage is I believe the crossbows are a bit stronger. So if you can lock on and you're in shorter range, the crossbows can be quite useful, actually. There's that guy that was throwing firebombs at us earlier. So, yeah. So I'm going to heal up, drop down, and finish him off. And this takes us back to the area where we just were. Oh, did he hit me in midair? Where is he? There he is. All right. Take care of him. Now that we've got everything, we're able to proceed. And we've already wiped all these guys out. So we're just going to loop on back up to where we were before. And there's a shortcut that we're going to unlock. So, you don't want to miss any of the shortcuts. They are a huge help. And there's some stuff in this room, actually. Some more fire bombs. And, they are very useful to use throughout the level. However, I do suggest to hanging on to at least a few of them for the boss fight because they are very useful against the boss in this level. The boss is weak to fire. So, as you can imagine, fire bombs are good. So that's actually an exploding barrel. He pretty much always hits it and it kills him and his buddy. So don't rush on in there. Kind of let them do that to themselves. But there's going to be more that we have to fight on our way down. So, unfortunately, they don't all go down that easy. And they all have the fire attack. So just be wary of that. Kind of a similar moveset to the other Dreglings that aren't as powerful, but their fire attacks are a bit more harmful. So I'm going to top off my health. And some of these guys, their pathfinding isn't that great. So some of these guys jump right off the edge. Sometimes you get lucky. Other times, not so much. And those are some more fire barrels. They're not as dumb as those first ones, so they're not going to hit those and blow themselves up. You see one just fell down over there. There's another one that fell down. So, yeah, I see some of them are just falling down right at that corner. Heal up. And these guys can be kind of annoying. Sometimes they'll be a bit more spaced out. And you get luckier than I was just then. But anyway, this guy drops pine resin. That it can be used to buff your weapon with fire, which is actually, again, very useful with the first boss. And got this other guy. Gonna let him kind of lunge at me. He'll do it. There we go. Oh, he followed it up quickly, though. See if I can get it. Oh, didn't get the proper backstab, but still got some attacks to his back, which helped out nonetheless. And so one more down here. That guy we got a backstab on. Alrighty. That's the last of them. So here, if we pull this lever, it unlocks our first shortcut in this level. And this is where we were before. This was that first area right after we warped into this level. And we got the cling ring. So let's check that out. If you throw the cling ring on, this is the item I was talking about earlier that makes the HP reduction effect less when you're in soul form. So now you see that we can get about 75% of our health in soul form with the cling ring, which is nice. And actually through here, you can attack these chains. And these will drop some items that we can now pick up. I didn't catch it before because I was busy with with those enemies on the way down. But since we dropped those chains, now we have this on the ground that we can pick up. So this is some aged spice, which recovers MP. And then it's an armor set that we can't equip yet. The old ragged set. And actually, you'll see if you look at the stats here, you'll see that it can only be equipped for type A. So we are body type B. So type A in this game more or less corresponds to female, type B to male. And there are some armor sets that are exclusive to one or the other. So we can't even equip this armor set. I'm going to send it all to storage. And also the iron helm, which we picked up in the tutorial. I'm going to send that to storage as well. And then here, we can pick up the jade hair ornament. Now, this is something that we're going to need for a ring. And again, talking about 100% as we make our way back up these stairs. One of the trophies in this game is a trophy for all rings. So we are going to need that item to trade in for a ring. And that's going to count towards our all rings trophy. So you're definitely going to want that. Definitely going to want that item there. So make our way back up here. And this will take us back to where we were before. And again, now that we have that gate unlocked, we can use that as a shortcut if we were to die. And it cuts off a pretty significant chunk of the level that we just went through. Takes us straight up here. So actually, right here, I think I'm going to cut it. That'll do for this episode. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please consider joining the squad by subscribing to the channel. Leave a like and a comment. Hope you guys enjoy this walkthrough. And I will see you next time. Enjoy and have a fantastic day.